Okay, so we are going to take a look at another factoring method called factor by grouping. But first, our question is, if ax squared plus bx plus c is a product of binomials, how are the values of a, b, and c related? So let's consider the product 3x plus 4 times 2x plus 1. So first, why don't we go ahead and distribute that? We'll multiply it out. 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times 1 is plus 3x, and let's distribute the 4. 4 times 2x is plus 8x, and 4 times 1 is plus 4. We can combine like terms and get 6x squared plus 11x plus 4. All right, so we have a couple of things to just notice that we will apply moving forward. If we take our a times our c, by the way, here's ax squared plus bx plus c. A times c is equal to 6 times 4, which equals 24. If we list out our factors of 24, so 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, what we notice is that we have these factor pairs, and the 3 and the 8 look very familiar because we have a 3 and an 8 here. So this is kind of special. This is kind of cool that that happens. So what we notice that a times c equals 24. And then what we noticed was there is a pair of factors of 24, which was our a times c, that add up to 11, which was our b value. So this 3x plus 8x gave us this 11x, and we found that those 3 and the 8 were a factor pair of our a times c. So we are noticing some things. We are going to apply that to factoring a trinomial by grouping. Okay, so consider the trinomial 6x squared plus 11x plus 4. We're going to factor this. We're going to write out some steps actually for this factoring. First step always is to look for a GCF. Is there a GCF? 6x squared plus 11x plus 4. There is no GCF. So what do you do? How do you factor a quadratic trinomial if there's no GCF and there's a number in front of your x squared? So this is when a does not equal 1, our a value. So step 2. If a does not equal 1, our a value is equal to 6. It does not equal 1. Find factors of a times c that add up to b. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our a times c. So a is 6, b is 11, c is 4. So a times c is equal to 6 times 4, which is 24. Then we're looking for factors of 24 that add up to b, which is 11. Those factors are 3 and 8. So we found factors of a times c that add up to b. Step 3, replace the b term with those factors. So what that looks like is we're going to keep our 6x squared, and instead of writing plus 11x, we're going to write plus 3x plus 8x, and then carry down your c, plus 4. So what we did is we replaced our b term, our 11x, with those factors, 3x and 8x. 3x plus 8x is 11x. So we're just manipulating how it looks to benefit what we're trying to do here. All right, so now step 4, we're going to group as two binomials and then factor out the GCF. So here's what that's going to look like. We've got 4 terms. This is why it's called factor by grouping, because we're going to group those two together as a binomial and group these two together as a binomial. And now we're going to see if each binomial has its own GCF. So 6x squared plus 3x, there's a GCF of 3x. We factor that out. 6x squared, factor out a 3x, you're left with 2x. Plus, if you have 3x and you factor out 3x, you're left with 1. Plus, is there a GCF for 8x plus 4? Well, there is, 4. If we factor out a 4 from 8x, we get 2x. Factor out a 4 from 4, we get 1, so plus 1. All right, step 5. Factor out the GCF binomial. So what that means, if you look at, we've got this plus this. Do you notice that they both have this binomial 2x plus 1 in common? So that's what we call a GCF binomial. We're going to factor that out. So I'm going to put the 2x plus 1 out front. And then when you factor a 2x plus 1 out of this little grouping here, you're left with just a 3x. And then when you factor the 2x plus 1 out of this whole thing, you're left with that plus 4. And this is our factored answer. That is factor by grouping.